gentlemen, and thank you for joining us for the premiere episode of Simon Says on the Mark, the first ever sports show on SOMAtv. I'm Russell Simon, with me is Mark Donatelli. Mark, we have a great show tonight.
Yes, we do, Russell. On the premiere episode of Simon Says on the Mark, we look into the sudden success of the Columbia High School football team, featuring an interview with the athletic director and head coach Dave Curtin. Also, we give our NFL midseason awards and debate whether Major League Baseball should do instant replay and how big its role should be on the game.
All right, on your mark, get set, and here we go. Let's start today off with a look at high school sports. The Columbia High School football team's fortune began to turn in the final game of the 2008 season. The Cougars, winless the previous season, needed a win to avoid another 0-9 campaign. They got it by beating Dickinson 48-0. Since then, it has been a complete turnaround for the Cougars. Playing in the brand new Lynn V. Profeta Field, the team has switched divisions and its record immediately improved to 8-2 last season, including a first-round playoff loss. The Cougars have picked up right where they left off last season. They're now 6-0 with wins over Kearney, Eastside, Shabazz, Milburn, Barringer, and Nutley.
The offense has been explosive, with quarterback Demetrius Cooper and all-conference running back Denzel Nieves leading the charge. The Cougars put up 41 points against Barringer and had a comeback victory against Nutley. Defensively, the Cougars are led by Matt McGriff, and the defense has been resounding success, holding Nutley to only 11 points. Now CHS sets their sight on making past the first round of the state playoffs. To talk about the Cougars' recent success, we have the athletic director and head coach of the football team, Dave Curtin.
Hey, Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Coach, let's go back to the Dickinson game. The Cougars were really struggling for the whole season, but they come out and get the huge win, and then immediately start dominating next season, winning 6 in a row. Were you surprised that after beating Dickinson, the Cougars would end up with such quick success?
Actually, no. I think most coaches are not surprised because we expect to win every time out. And the Dickinson game was a team we had never seen before, so there was no history there.
Yep. And
we had a clean slate, and then that gave us some confidence, and it was the springboard into last season and this season.
There's a major switch in the conferences. The Cougars are now in the Liberty Division of the Super Essex Conference, along with Nutley, Belleville, West Essex, Shabazz, Milburn, Barringer, and Eastside. There's plenty of good teams in this division, but the Cougars are 14-2 since the change. Has the new conference helped the Cougars, or has it just been a revamped program?
I think it's helped us. It's helped us, again, like I said about Dickinson, there was a clean slate. There was no history. There was no monkey get off your back because they didn't know us, we didn't know them. So we go into those games, again, with a clean slate, and it's given us a lot of confidence.
The Cougars are 6-0 this year. Coming into the season, did you expect the team's successes from last year to carry over as much as they had, or was it more of a clean slate?
I don't want to sound like a wise guy again, but yes, because again, you always expect that, and I know that our confidence level is sky high. Even in a few games we have not played well, we've still found a way to pull it out. Nutley is one of them. Nutley really outstatted us by a lot, but statistics are for losers.
Exactly.
And we found a way to win, found a way to pull it out.
Columbia was dealt a tough loss in the first round of the playoffs last year. Is the team looking forward to getting a chance to avenge that loss, or are you guys just taking it one game at a time?
Well, we'll take it one game at a time, one play at a time. I know you know that. However, we are, you want to make new goals. And this year we want to win the conference first and foremost, and then try to get past that first round. And again, kind of get that monkey off our back.
Several key players, including Matt McGriff and Denzel Nieves, are graduating, and this will be their last season. What is it like having the veteran leadership on a team with many seniors, but also where underclassmen play a big role?
Well, those guys have been very, very important because we do have so many sophomores and inexperienced juniors and a lot of inexperienced seniors, too. This is the first time they've played varsity. Those guys have been tremendous. They've been leaders on and off the field. In the summertime, they were kind of like extensions of us, coaches on the field when we were doing a lot of teaching. So they've been very, very important, and they're both two good kids, which is the most important thing.
And does it help for your confidence knowing that you have two guys who you can really count on in the huddle to execute the plays you call?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I kind of took a page out of the Rex Ryan book when last year they let the veterans kind of coach Mark Sanchez in the huddle, trying to get him through, and that's what these guys have done along with Demetrius with some of our young guys.
Helped to get them to the AFC Championship.
It sure did.
We both walk the halls of Columbia every day, and the student support of the football team has skyrocketed since the new winning ways. Have you seen support for the football teams rise? Does the student body just seem more excited about the team than they were in years past?
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of kids say hello to me that I've never seen before. I think that's probably why, and it's not because of me, it's because of what our players have done on the field.
Pep rally was fun.
Yes, pep rally was fun. Yes, it was.
Interesting.
In many parts of the country, there is the tradition of going to the football games under the lights, Friday night. The Cougars finally got the brand new turf field after, tons of battle.
Yep.
But now the attention is slowly turned, at least in the student body, to getting lights. Can you tell us, some of our viewers, how the campaign is going?
Well, lights were something that when we first put the field in, we kind of took that off the board, but we did lay the conduit. Everything is down there for lights, and it's kind of going to be a separate battle. It's close. We're in the ballpark, but we still have a little ways to go. But it is close. It will be a great thing for the entire community, not just the high school football team, but for everyone.
Definitely as a way for everyone to gather around the team.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Ladies
you,
and
guys.
gentlemen, Athletic Director and Head Coach Dave Curtin. Dave, thanks a lot.
Guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Mark.
See him tomorrow at practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And now it's time to segue into professional sports with our quick hits. Mark, you ready?
Yeah, I am, Russell.
All right. We now transfer to the NFL, where Week 6 saw several players go down after vicious helmet-to-helmet hits. James Harrison was fined $75,000, and the NFL created a new rule that players could be fined, ejected, and suspended for helmet-to-helmet hits. Mark, do you think the NFL made a good call in creating this rule for player safety as much as for the sake of the game?
I think it can go both ways. A negative towards the game would be players, you have been complaining for the past week, Ray Lewis, James Harrison, they've been playing their whole lives, and they've been playing a certain way their whole lives. And it's just been, they've led with their head, and it's an aggressive way of playing, and you see it through these hits, and they feel it's going to affect their play. And they feel that they won't be able to perform at the level that they want to.
Yeah.
So for that, it's bad, but at the same time, when you see players getting carted off the field, it just gives the sport a bad rep.
LeGrand from Rutgers. I mean, you don't want a player to die on the field, and it's getting closer to that. The players are getting quicker, and there's still just little helmets and shoulder pads.
Yeah. Next, Russell. Mark Sanchez has been a vital factor for the Jets' success of late. But is his tremendous play simply a result of the talent around him, or is he really that efficient?
Well, I mean, you look at Mark Sanchez, he's got a ton of weapons. You got Sean Green, the sophomore, coming out of the backfield who had a great playoffs. LT providing the veteran leadership. He's having an incredible year. You've got Santonio Holmes, who's been having an excellent season, as well as Braylon Edwards, who, outside of the DUI, has been really a solid force for the Jets. Sanchez does have a lot of weapons. However, the main thing that has made him get better is that he's holding onto the football. We look at 2009, Sanchez, 12 TDs, 20 interceptions through the games that he played the whole season. So far in 2010, 9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. I know the Buffalo game last year, he basically gave it to him with 5 interceptions. And we're not seeing that now, and that's a result of him becoming more of a leader in the locker room. He's definitely stepping up, and he's really responsible for the 5-1 record. You look against Denver, making the plays late in the game. That's the kind of stuff a real quarterback's made of, and he's certainly developing into that mold.
They do definitely pose a serious threat at the AFC East.
I hope so. Not like the Bills. No offense.
Hey, you win 10 games in a row. See what happens.
All right. Brett Favre returned to Lambeau Field last Sunday night in a loss to the Packers. In light of the recent sexual assault allegations, do you think the legacy of one of the all-time greats has been tarnished even more than it has with the changing of the teams and stuff?
Well, that's definitely true. It has been tarnished the past couple of years with the Favre watch and the retirement sagas that have been going on. But, I mean, once you start getting into serious stuff like this, it's becoming more of a serious issue. Before it was just, we dislike, this guy again. We had to hear him on SportsCenter.
Oh, of course.
But now this is a serious thing, and it can really tarnish a great career, maybe one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
And if you look at this from the Vikings' perspective, he's 41. He had the ankle injury where he fractured some bones in his ankle in a terrible loss to the Packers. He's getting older, and you look at this, and if you're the Vikings, I've got to start thinking, maybe we need to look to the future, because Brett Favre's not going to be around that much longer. And if you look at the sexting allegations and things that are just major distractions, and they're causing his play to get worse. He's getting older. He's making some terrible throws. I mean, if I'm the Vikings, I got to think how much longer I'm going to stick with Favre and maybe start looking to the future. I mean, this is a team that's really struggling right now, and I don't know if they can do it with Favre anymore.
These retirement sagas have to end because the Vikings need to know on draft day what they're going to do with their first pick.
I mean, I got to imagine if they continue like this, end up like an 8-8 type team, there's got to be some type of trading up, try and get a quarterback, maybe Jake Locker out of Washington or something. All right, now we transfer to college football. The ongoing discussion in college football, really, since the preseason rankings in August, have been whether Boise State should be a contender for the BCS title. Mark, they're 6-0 at the moment, second in the AP Top 25, but based on their just horrible conference, I mean, do you think they deserve a shot at the BCS title game?
I think they definitely do, Russ. Like you said, they're 6-0. I mean, you can't deny that. I mean, the only game that was close was against number 7 Virginia Tech in Washington, D.C., which is not really neutral when you're talking about Boise and Blacksburg.
Sure.
So they're clearly a top team, and that's not the question here. It's whether they deserve that shot. And to be honest, I think they do, and I think it would be good for college football to see some new teams in there, not just Florida, not just Alabama.
Ohio.
Just someone new.
I mean, I definitely agree with parts of what you're saying. I think you look at, Boise State, I think hands down they're in the top 2. However, that being said, you cannot play just 2 great teams. And you look at a team in the SEC, maybe an LSU or Auburn, and they're playing Florida. They've got Alabama, South Carolina. I mean, Boise State just doesn't face that kind of competition. And I think they're probably better than some of those teams. But, I mean, if you're going to tell me that they should play in the national championship game, they've got to play a lot more teams than just Virginia Tech once and then, San Diego State.
The New York Yankees season ended with disappointment, losing to the Texas Rangers in the ALCS. Derek Jeter is a free agent now. Do you think the Yankees will give him a ton of money now or try to sign him to a smaller contract based on his dwindling performance?
Well, it goes without saying Derek Jeter is going to be a Yankee. I mean, that's period. I think he's getting older. He's declining in health. I don't know how much longer he can play shortstop. You look at in 2009, his batting average was .334 and his on-base percentage was .406. This year, it was .270 and his on-base percentage was .340. He only had 10 home runs this year as opposed to 18 in 2009. I mean, he is declining. He's going to be a Yankee. They're going to give him more money than everyone else. However, that being said, I don't know if he deserves it all that much. All right, that's it for our first segment. We'll be right back after this public service announcement. You're listening to Simon Says on the Mark. And remember, friend us on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Simon Says on the Mark today. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is former Governor Tom Kean. I answered the Jersey call to service. Now you can too. Join me and thousands of people from all corners of New Jersey in making the positive changes we need. With only a couple of hours, you can learn how to bring solutions that will cut government waste and improve the quality of life in your hometown. Answer the Jersey call to service. Go to jointhecampaign.com.
Welcome back to Simon Says on the Mark. We begin our third segment, back to NFL football. And Mark, sadly, but I guess, not sadly for you since you're just glad the season is going to be almost over, we're halfway through the NFL season. It's time for our mid-season awards. Let's start off with MVP. Mark, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the easy choice here. I'm going with Peyton Manning.
Easy choice.
I would say that.
Okay.
It's been a recurring theme over the past decade. But you look at his numbers. The Colts are 4-2. They're off to their normal winning ways. He's got 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Those are solid numbers. He's proven since he was drafted, that he is just the Colts. He is their franchise. He makes receivers. Austin Collie, Dallas Clark, all these guys, they succeeded because of him. And he's clearly not only one of the best players in the league, but by definition, one of the most valuable.
Peyton certainly is probably the most valuable, but I'm looking at a team, the Jets' arch enemy. I'm going to give it to him. Tom Brady has had a revolving door of people on offense. He's got Wes Welker coming off ACL surgery, Randy Moss traded. He's thrown a Julian Edelman, and he just makes it work. They're having another typical Patriot year, and it's all because of his real dominance. He's got 11 TDs, 4 interceptions, a 66.2 completion percentage with 1,382 yards. There is no one on this team for him to throw the ball to. No deep threat in Randy Moss, just Wes Welker, and he finds a way to make it work. They traded Lawrence Maroney to Denver, but he still finds a way to make it work. He has got to be MVP. Without him, the Patriots, he's like LeBron. Without him, the Cavaliers are nothing. Without Tom Brady, the Patriots just don't succeed. He's got to be MVP right now.
They're both their prototypical franchise players.
Of
definitely.
course. All right, we go to defensive player. There's a lot of good nominees in this area. Mark, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Clay Matthews here.
He's got the hair for it.
He's got that Fabio style hair. But he's got 8.5 sacks. We're halfway through the season, so you expect those numbers to at least double. He's on a blitz-happy team with the Packers. Very solid defense. You look at linebackers in the NFL, certain types can rush the passer, certain types can stop the run, but it's the good linebackers that can do both. Mm-hmm. And the defensive player nominees who can do both.
Yeah.
And Matthews is definitely one of those guys who can rush the passer, and then the next play he can bring down the running back on a pitch for a 2-yard loss.
Uh-huh. Well, I think Clay Matthews is definitely up there. He's certainly in consideration, but I'm looking at a guy who's really made the secondary of his team fantastic. He's turned this defense into one that has really helped his team win games. I'm talking about D'Angelo Hall and the Washington Redskins. Hall, 4 interceptions last Sunday. 1, 2, 3, 4 interceptions against Jay Cutler, including 193 yards returned for a touchdown. The most in his career is 4. And he is 5 already. He has really helped the Redskins defense evolve into a Mike Shanahan attack-style defense. They're 4-3 right now. McNabb hasn't been great, but it's because of the defense that they've been able to win the close games, especially against Dallas Week 1. And a big help is D'Angelo Hall. He's been shutting down other receivers and playing well. A lot of interceptions. He's definitely a threat to get the pick 6. I like him as my defensive player.
It helps when you have a pass rush like they do.
True.
Brian Arakpo, guys leading the way. When Jay Cutler's under pressure, that's what's
4
gonna
interceptions.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, definitely.
Either way, that's got to put you into consideration.
Yeah, two solid nominees.
Mm-hmm. Matthews is, Matthews makes that team though. All right, what do you think for comeback player of the year? There's a lot of nominees. We can't give it to Roethlisberger yet though.
You might think is probably going to be somewhat of a surprising pick.
Okay.
I'm going to take Anquan Boldin. He had a very disappointing year last year.
True.
He had 4 touchdowns. You don't expect a guy like Boldin to have 4 touchdowns. He has a change of scenery this year. He moves to Baltimore. He has Joe Flacco throwing to him. He already has 5 touchdowns, 518 yards receiving.
Yeah.
That's a textbook comeback. That he has turned his career around from career low numbers to on pace for career high numbers.
He stabbed you guys in the heart with the flea flicker.
They just pretty much beat everybody on that.
But Bolden is, he's solid. With Fitzgerald, he really felt like that he never really got the appreciation, and you can obviously see Fitzgerald is probably the second best receiver in football, but Bolden's got to be up there as well. I like the choice. I'm going to go with one that it might seem a little obvious, I'm a little biased. The Dalian Tomlinson has got to be Comeback Player of the Year. In 2009, he had 750 yards. So far, he has 490 yards and 5 touchdowns, including 2 in a huge win against Denver in Denver. He's helped Sanchez. He's provided leadership for Sean Green. I mean, when they got rid of Thomas Jones, they figured Green would be the every down back. He'd be solid. I mean, they really figured that he would be like the LT of, 2006. And really, I mean, he's helped out Green, and he's paved the way for the play action with Sanchez. He provides leadership. He's telling Sanchez, what to do, how to do it. Sanchez is playing well because of it. They've got a lot of weapons, but he's really a big surprise. And from a guy that, has gone from 750 yards to, he's easily going to surpass 1,000. He's got to be Comeback Player of the Year, and he's a big part of why the Jets are big Super Bowl contenders.
Well, he's definitely returned to that versatile back status that he had, like you said, in 06. He can catch the screen. He can burn you on a counter play. That's the kind of guy that the Jets,
they
love to have in their offense.
I mean, he's playing great football right now, and he's really helping them. What do you think about Rookie of the Year? I mean, you've got Sam Bradford.
Yeah, I think we probably have the same pick on this one.
Yeah.
I'm going with Bradford. I mean, this is a Rams team that, first overall pick last April. They've turned it around. I mean, they're 3-4. But, I mean, from last year, that's an
they're
amazing
contenders.
improvement.
It's a bad division. Anything can happen.
Very weak. I mean, 9 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's not superstar numbers, but the way he's turned this team around from being like the actual worst team last year to being a solid, possible playoff contender. That's a big role.
In St. Louis, that's music to anybody's ear. It's got to be Sam Bradford. I mean, you look at him, 56.2 completion percentage. He's got 9 touchdowns, 8 TD, 8 interceptions. But, I mean, you look at a guy like Sanchez last year, 20 interceptions. You're going to have the growing pains. Yeah. And he's on a team that does not have many great receivers. He's got Steven Jackson, the running back, who has the most yards in Rams history. But other than that, not that many weapons. He finds a way to make it work. I mean, they're 3-4. For St. Louis, that's really all you can ask for. I mean, they're playing good football right now for a team like that. I mean, you look at Bradford as the key building block to what they can be in 3 years. I mean, he's really playing well. I mean, I've got to give him Rookie of the Year based on that. Anything north of 6 wins is going to be a good year for the Rams, and it looks like they're going to get that this year if they continue at this pace.
Oh, I mean, definitely. I mean, they put the tools around him the next couple of years. I mean, this is back to the early decade Rams,
And the
Super Bowl
Spagnuolo-led defense is looking good, too.
Yeah,
Not quite
definitely.
the greatest show on turf, though.
It's going to be tough to get back there, but to be,
they could definitely get close. I could see it.
Definitely have potential in that team.
All right, now the playoffs are coming around in a little bit. We still got, 2 months or so. But now let's fast forward all the way to February. Dallas, Texas, Super Bowl 45. Who's going to be playing? Gotta say, Jed. Come on.
No, I'm sorry.
You gotta come on. All right.
I'm going Baltimore versus Green Bay. These are two, in my opinion, probably the most well-rounded teams in the league. They both have strong defenses. Teams that have been, just known, like the Packers have been known for their offense. Their defense has always been solid. The Ravens have always been known for their tough physical offense, but now, let's
think.
You got Joe Flacco.
There you go.
Anquan Bolden, Ray Rice. I mean, that's a
Rutgers kid.
Pass and run, 1-2 punch. I like the well-roundedness of both these teams.
Okay.
And I see them in the Super Bowl.
Well, I am a little bit of a homer here, but you look at this Jets team. It is a team with confidence. It's a team with swagger. They lost to Baltimore week 1, but ever since then, it's basically a completely different team. I think, this Jets team is really dangerous. Rex Ryan said they were going to lead the league in wins. I think they're on the way. I didn't quite say that, but I think they're on their way to being at the point where they can get home field advantage. We're looking at a 13-3 type record here if they can keep up this pace. I think the Jets are going to make it to the Super Bowl. Right now, they're the best team. I think if you're playing a home game at New Meadowlands Stadium against the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl, I don't see how the Jets give it away. The NFC, parity reigns. I mean, there are 4 different teams. You look at Philly, you've got the Falcons, you've got the Giants, and the Packers, who are all pretty good, but all not as good as the top 3 teams in the AFC. I look at really the top 2 teams in this conference. You've got Green Bay and you've got the New York Giants. Right now, Green Bay is pretty good. They've had a lot of close games, nearly lost to Minnesota. They're just not playing great football. I mean, they can't really execute on the offensive side of the ball. I think the Giants are better. They've got, a very aggressive defense. The JetBlue offense, I mean, it's pretty impressive. I'm going to go the Jets-Giants in the Super Bowl, and, the Jets
Subway
are going to win.
Series. Interesting. Okay.
All right, transitioning to baseball for our final segment. Mark, it was a rough year for umpires. Bad year for umpires.
Yeah,
You look
definitely.
at Jim Joyce in a game, Tigers-Indians, blows the call at first base that ruined the perfect game. Instant replay was established for home runs. That's it. Do you think that's right or wrong as we transition to baseball?
I
they
think
should leave it?
it needs to be changed, but it needs to be limited.
Okay.
I mean, the problem with baseball is, in my opinion, they're losing a generation of fans.
Maybe because the games are on so late.
Exactly. That's the 4-hour games
Okay.
with the pitcher stepping off and the batters adjusting their batting gloves, and I mean, it goes 4 hours, and then to add on to that, the East Coast starts their games at 8 o'clock, maybe later than that sometimes, depending on what team they're playing. So I mean,
Instant replay will delay the game.
It will delay the game tremendously. If you give Jose Guillen, you give him a chance to challenge a call. Imagine how long that's going to take with him getting out there, him starting to argue. Then, I want this challenged, and then that's...
What if you just established a system where you gave him 2 challenges a game? You don't even have to go down to the little tunnel and look under the thing. You just have it right there in front of everyone. You put it on the big stadium scoreboard. The umpires agree. Takes 30 seconds. And guess what? If you throw more than 2 challenge flags, you can't run out and argue. They're not changing the call. There's nothing you can do about it. I think this will actually shorten games. And you look at situations like Jim Joyce, Armando Galarraga. That is something that baseball cannot allow to happen. There are steps have to be taken to make sure that that doesn't happen. If you want to have an umpire in the booth and get rid of the third base ump, find a way to make it happen. But right now, I think this system just doesn't work.
I think, too, is 2 challenges.